What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another AEW Week in Review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. As always, I give you everything that happened on Being the Elite, Dark, and Dynamite for the past week. So, just going to jump right into it. As always, it is hot in here, and I just want to go relax on a weekend. So, we're going to do that. Alright, so we start off with BTE. The title is BC for Life, obviously, Bullet Club for Life. We know, obviously, that a lot of changes happen on Impact Wrestling. So two big influential members, the Good Brothers, Machine Gun Anderson, and Big LG Luke Gallows are now with Impact. Obviously, former Bullet Club founders. So, they're in this. So Nick walks into one of the dressing rooms with Matt, asks him for a shirt. He tosses a Bullet Club Young Bucks shirt to him. They mention Evil's the new leader of Bullet Club in New Japan. Then they do a flashback, kind of joking thing about talking with the Good Brothers about talking shop. They're back in 2016, even though it's obviously current. They're too sweet doing suckets because they know they can't, technically they couldn't do it back in the day. They had cease and desist orders. That was actually a big part of, I'm peeling, from Being the Elite back in the day. They were getting cease and desist orders from WWE from doing too sweets and suckets. So they make a joke about starting a new company, the Young Bucks, possibly in 4 years, obviously now. Talk about, New Year's 2019. And then the Good Brothers, they leave, and the Good Brothers are like, what the fuck are they talking about? We're just gonna get that WWE money. We're gonna go and we're gonna be famous. And then obviously we saw what happened there. So we get another travel montage. We get Matt telling Kenny he's proud. He dumped the alcohol out in the ring 2 weeks ago on Dynamite. Kenny says it's not because of religion. It's a lifestyle choice. That's why he never drinks. Kenny starts mentioning Scientology AF, which I thought was pretty funny. So we get Reynolds and Silver, the Dark Order, approach Isaiah Cassidy. He walks away. They approach Nyla Rose. She says no to the cult. They talk about their commonality of hating Chris Statlander. Nyla goes, okay. And then she pulls out a silly straw because they offer her the Kool-Aid, and the silly straw says, fuck you. Silver gets wild and starts screaming at Nyla Rose, walks off. We get... Christopher Daniels is the worst year I've ever been in t-shirt, which I think is funny. We get Matt telling Matt Hardy he likes what they're doing with Private Party. They walk into a room, and then all of a sudden he becomes Big Money Matt, but Hardy won't leave. He has heat because of the money gimmick in the entrance of the Young Bucks. That we then get the tales from the inside from Broken Matt Hardy about what heat actually is. Hardy's mad. Big Money Matt is mad. He leaves. And then he comes back as Extreme Matt Hardy, and then he talks about how he's blown up from walking back and forth. We get another Tales from the Inside about being blown up. But Matt, it's just a focus on Matt Jackson's face, and he just can't take it anymore. We get Cutler asking the best friends for a bid, as always. They said they did one last week with Trent's mom, but that actually was considered a Dark Order bit. So they said they'll definitely have one next week. But the fact is that Dark Order is more over, apparently, on BTE. So they decide they're going to do the Kill Brandon's bit, and Brandon overhears it. We get a montage of the orange juice dropping on Inner Circle, and then we get the footage of how the ring crew were able to change out the ring apron and the mat right before the next segment, which I thought was pretty impressive. We get backstage with Kenny. Hangman comes in, and Kenny is pissed. He was drinking with FTR after the six-man tag, which we saw backstage that they were drinking together. Says Kenny had it coming with them dumping the beer on. Kenny comes into the dressing room, and the Bucks are asking Kenny what's up because of what happened with Marco Stunt. Lucha and Jungle Boy come in. They ask Kenny what's up too. Kenny says he lost his cool. He agrees to go check on Marco because everyone was giving him shit. So Marco's bummed, says that, it was his hero. Kenny says he'll make it up to him, but then calls him a fucking pussy when he walks out. So this is kind of the slightly Kenny, cleaner heel turn that does seem that there is some continuity between this and Dynamite, which is obviously, few and far between. Colt's about to surprise Kenny, and then Griff Garrison stops him, says he's going to murder him. Colt thinks he's Jungle Boy, and then he says, no, I'm Griff Garrison. He leaves, and then Colt is like, who the fuck is Griff Garrison? We got another speaking Spanglish. Alex Marvez is playing the role of Abramentez. Fake, F-A-Y-K, and then Alex comes back, and they get it, because he's the fake Alex Abramentez. Bucks are talking about the key demo spot. What would Grandma and Grandpa like? Because they're the key demo. They're winning in the key demos, but obviously they lose in the older demographic, which is what WWE is famous for. So Matt knows what to do, and then he does this 50 seconds for 50 plus, where he does just a gardening gimmick. I thought was pretty clever. So we get Isaiah Cassidy saying his back hurts. Nick and he goes to the doctor. It's actually Nick with a mask on. Private Party doesn't want the help. And then they see what they think is a sexy-ass nurse, but it turns out it's just Matt with his hair down, with a mask on. He says he's dead-ass, he's Matt. We get Silver and Reynolds. They don't want to wear masks. They're arguing amongst each other in the Dark Order. They say Silver says Stu is the ugliest, and he doesn't have to wear one. Uno says he's tried to get him to wear a mask. Brody comes in. They all shut up. And he goes, why is it always Silver? Why is it always Silver is the one causing the problems? It's because he's a fucking idiot. Brody is packing papers, apparently, and then pulls out the papers as if he has, guns. Everyone bails. It leaves Silver behind. Stu closes the door on him, and then you just hear him screaming for his mom as Brody beats the shit out of him with papers. So, some good stuff in BTE. I know that they're getting the Dark Order over, but I don't mind if they're a little jokey-ish on regular television, Dark and Dynamite, but I just want to see some more personality out of it, because it's just Colt. That's it. I mean, we do get a little more personality this time, but there was a continuity thing there. So let's see here. What do we have? Okay. So we're going to Dark now. So we get Sheeta versus Rachel Chanel. I'm not a fan of Rachel Chanel. I think she's just very awkward. The way she moves, her moveset is just weird. Her whole gimmick. I mean, the gimmick, it's fine. You want to be a bougie person. I mean, Aaliyah does kind of the same thing in NXT. But she just walks around like she's like a robot. She's so stiff in the ring. Eventually, they gave her way too much offense in this, to be honest, against Sheeta, Sheeta's taking out people in 16 seconds. We get a stalling vertical by Sheeta for a 2 count. She hits a Fujiwara, but Chanel's able to get to the ropes, and then we get a Falcon Arrow for the win. I know it sounds like I'm giving it nothing, but there's a lot more offense in here that Chanel got that I was not exactly happy about. I think it should have just been a squash, but anyway. Kip Sabian versus Corey Hollis was next. Kip, keeping his sunglasses on, didn't even realize he had them on, which I don't believe, but gives a Gamangiri, sliding clothesline. PK, the ref actually does the bit, says it's good. Hollis with a springboard Pele kick for a 2 count, but eventually Kip Sabian gets the Deathly Hollows for the win. We get Dustin training the Nightmare Sisters on the Jags practice field. Hope is to bring attention to the women's tag match. Tag team division, which I don't know if that, there is no technically a division. It's just them pretty much are the only real team. But then they start to argue who gets the last word. We'll find out more about this on Dynamite. Best friends was Brady Pierce and Sabby. So Tino Sabatelli, former NXT star, former NFL player. Sabby and Trent go at it. Sabby has the power advantage. Trent goes for his knee. Then they get best friends get a double team on Brady. Spinebuster by Brady on Chuck. Chuck rising knee strike and the hot tag to Trent. Trent hits a Saito suplex on Brady. There's a last shot by Trent to Sabby for a 2 count. Power slam counter by Sabby on Trent. Soul food and a spear by Brady. We get stereo pescados by the best friends. We get the hug spot. And then eventually they hit strong zero for the win. Brady and Sabatelli are beasts. I think they could actually be a decent tag team between the two of them. I mean, they're huge. They look great in the ring. So it'd be interesting to see if AEW would start to push them. I think they like Brady Pierce because they've used him a lot, and I think he's got a great look to him. Sabatelli, obviously, former NXT star. It's putting it lightly. Our next match, we get Ricky Starks versus Will Hobbs. Taz is just gushing all over Starks. We find out why later. Hobbs' brother took a bullet for him. We get some backstory on Will Hobbs, and which has inspired him to pursue his wrestling career, which is kind of interesting, giving him a little more character there. You know, he just looked like a big guy. He was just a big guy jobber because he lost. You know, he's obviously lost every match, and mostly to people smaller than him. Stalling suplex by Hobbs, and then he hits a spine buster. We get a swinging neck breaker by Starks, and then the double underhook dominator by Starks for the win, which was impressive because Hobbs is a big dude. So Starks continuing his winning ways. We then get Scorpio Sky versus Aaron Solo. We get a side Russian leg sweep by Sky. But Solo is holding his own in this match. This is one where I didn't find that him getting more offense was a bad thing. I just gave Scorpio Sky he's fighting against a good guy here. This was fine. Jumping flatliner by Sky for a 2 count. Cazador rolled through double stomp by Solo for a 2 count. We get the flip powerbomb into the turnbuckles by Solo for a 2 count. But eventually Sky powers up, does his TKO, and gets the win. So just, keeping Scorpio on the singles track right now, and just seeing where he's going to go from there. I don't know if they're looking at him kind of, main title, TNT title, or just, have a couple of really good feuds. I'm fine with that. Not everything has to be a title match. So, Kylan King versus Diamante before Diamante's Dynamite debut. King is obviously bigger and asserting that. Diamante fights out of a stalling suplex. King eventually hits the suplex for a 2 count. Belly to belly overhead by Diamante for into the corner. Running drop kick in the corner by Diamante for a 2 count. King with a bunch of pinning attempts, each for a 2 count, but eventually Diamante hits a code red for the win. We then get our second to last match, Robert Anthony versus Darby Allin. This is pretty interesting. So Darby Allin's staring down Taz. Taz says he'll be on Dynamite to address him tomorrow. Anthony wants him to pay attention to him, so he starts getting in his face. Code red by Allin for a 2 count. Allin charges Anthony, who is against the barricade. Anthony drapes Allin against the barricade and suplexes him onto the floor. Anthony exposes the ring, pulls like the curtains, apron curtain to the side and throws Allin into it. Anthony does a Romero special roll. Fujiwara by Allin. Anthony able to get to the ropes. Allin hits a coffin drop on the apron, but Anthony was standing, so he kind of landed on him and then fell into it. It was pretty brutal. The flip over stunner, coffin drop for the win. So then Cage comes out, pulls him out, and suplexes him back into the ring, which was pretty rough. And then Anthony tries to stop him for some reason, and then Cage pushes him, and Starks pulls him out of the ring, throws him into the ring post, and then 2 power bombs and a Dominator by Starks. 2 power bombs by Cage and then the Dominator by Starks, all on Darby Allin. So we see this happening before, and then we'll see it continued on Dynamite. We get our final main event, Avalon and Cutler versus Butcher and the Blade. So they double team Avalon, double pin on Butcher for only a 1 count. Butcher suplexes both of them. We get more double team on Avalon. Leva jumps off the apron and she's caught by Butcher, but Avalon does a suicide dive into them, so it takes them all out. Cutler with a springboard moonsault, but gets only a piece of Butcher. A suicide dive on Blade, and then a tope con hero on Butcher, but it was a rough landing. Avalon hits Blade with the book. Cutler's pissed off that they're cheating. Butcher fun splash on Avalon. Full death on Cutler for the win, which is their kind of like suplex, double knee backbreaker. They then do a powerbomb neck breaker on Avalon to the outside, trash talking the Bucks because of the match that they're going to have tomorrow on Dynamite. And that is AEW Dark for this week. Apparently there's going to be like 12 matches on next, so they're really supersizing Dark out. So now we're going to go to AEW Dynamite. So Tony is back. Obviously, he got his results. Clearly, they were negative. So we start off with another TNT title match. Cody's already in the ring. And then Eddie Kingston, King from NWA, but I know him mostly from Impact. He managed old, I think, ex-LAX and then old LAX. So he was involved in that storyline with Conan. They ran over a kid at one point, so I thought it was pretty wild. But he just absolutely his mic skills are one of the best. He just absolutely just shits on Cody, saying that all he fought was boys. He's a man. Tells on, he's like, I will swear on the eyes of my mother that I'll crack your jaw. Tony Khan paid me to beat you up and take your title, but he wants a DQ match. He said all Cody has to do is accept. Cody obviously accepts, so they had a slap fest on the outside. Disaster kick by Cody. Suicide dive by Cody sends King into the barricade. King uses Cody's belt, pulls up the padding on the outside, but it gets back body dropped instead of trying to get a pile driver. Does a stretch plum. I've never heard of the name of the move before, by King. And then King eventually hits a low blow, goes to the bottom of the ring, pulls out a bag of thumbtacks, throws them out. Cody gets powerbombed on the ring, on the thumbtacks, which I thought was just wild. They eventually fight to a point where Cody gets the figure four, does the bridge, and then Eddie Kingston taps out for the win. This was a fantastic match. Great way to start it out. Hopefully Kingston sticks around. Obviously we don't know what's going on with NWA right now, and obviously he left Impact to be in NWA, so I do hope he sticks around because he's a great heel, great talker. He's obviously been in the business for almost 20 years, so he's on the older side, but still just puts together really good matches. We get a Mox video promo, said he did what he was going to do. He's going to rip off the bone. Next time he will do it. We get MJF versus Griff Garrison. MJF is doing his great in-ring promo. Makes a joke about him looking like Jungle Boy. Calls him Jungle Man. Then talks about how he's been undefeated, but yet he has no title shot. Then Griff calls to the fact they lost the tag match. MJF doesn't like that. They're fighting. Eventually, he grabs a mic, says he wants Griff Garrison to say that he's undefeated. Begrudgingly, Griff does, tries to roll up. Eventually, he hits the Heat Seeker, which is kind of like the pile driver, draping pile driver for the win. We get Tony backstage with Reba. Talks about Britt's nose surgery from when it got broken. Reba is about to say her correct name, but Britt calls her in. Tony comes back there too. They see Britt. She can't turn the what do you call it, the wheelchair on its own, and that she that's something to figure out. Get a wheelchair that turns on its own. She's got more rules about how this is a conspiracy theory, and then talks about Michael Jordan and his great comebacks, one with the Washington Wizards. Tony says, interjects and says, the Wizards never made the playoffs. Britt says, why are you being such an asshole? Which I thought was hysterical. Reba talks about how she's watched Space Jam and Michael Jordan always wins. So eventually she says, don't count her out at All Out. So it looks like All Out is her targeted return. Assume she's going to fight Big Swole. We get Cage and Taz out to the ring. Taz says he almost got fired, but cooler heads prevailed. It was a business decision because Cage would have never tapped out, and that he's never going to be in that position again. Darby comes out to the ring, and then Starks comes out to attack. Now, there's rumors that, unfortunately, Starks may have gotten a little too rough, and Darby got a concussion. Hopefully that's not happening. Darby powerbombed onto the ramp, then powerbomb tossed into the ring. Starks hits the Dominator. Cage is about to hit Allen with the skateboard. Mox comes out with a barbed wire bat. I really do hope that Darby Allin is okay. Fingers crossed. We got a Women's Tag Team Cup, the Deadly Draw Tournament announced. It's going to be 8 teams so far. The only team I know is the Nightmare Sisters. Obviously, if Chris Statlander is healthy, that would be her and Sheeta. Maybe, because Reba, Rebel, whatever you want to call her, is an actual wrestler, so maybe her and Britt. That would be interesting. But the name The Deadly Draw means, could it be random? Who knows? Backstage interview with the Inner Circle. Jericho's wearing the same jacket. It's supposed to be white, but it's orange. He's going to ruin Cassidy's career. We then get our Falls Count Anywhere match. Just unbelievable match between the Bucks and Butcher and the Blade. Unfortunately, it sounds like there might have been some injuries as well in this one. Praying that it wasn't anything serious. So the Bucks bring a ref and a camera with them backstage into the kitchen where Butcher and Blade are butchering meat, which I thought was funny. They, they clean up, wash their hands. Then the brawl starts. Nick gets gut wrenched onto a table for a 2 count. Matt starts slapping them with meat. Matt gets a double suplex on a table for a 2 count. Fight goes to the outside. There's a sheet pan that gets kneed into Butcher's face by Nick. Matt thrown into the production truck. And then while the door is open, they long dart Nick into his own picture on the truck, which I thought was pretty cool. Then Matt does like a running tope con hero out of the truck onto both of them. That was just fucking dangerous, because if he fucks that up, whew. Senton with a pan onto Butcher, but the table doesn't break, which I assume it was supposed to break. Blade double super kick onto the escalator. He shoots up the escalator then, and we don't see him for a little while. We come back from commercial. We're back fighting by the ring area. So it's the Bucks against Butcher. Assisted sliced bread on Butcher on the outside. Blade comes in with some chair shots finally. Flipping stunner on Matt by Matt on Blade. Double suplex by Butcher. Blade with the top tope con hero and misses the table, and I think this is where he might have hurt himself. Butcher with the fun splash to Matt through a table. Sharpshooter crossface on Butcher, broken up by the Blade. We get a powerbomb neckbreaker combo on Matt on the ramp. Eventually, a big fight out by the entrances to the tunnels. We get a double super kick on Butcher, and then a BTE trigger on Blade. They set up on tables, each in front of the tunnels. Matt goes from the top, goes for an elbow, and then Nick does a swanton, and they get the win. This match was just wild. It was awesome. I mean, my breakdown doesn't even do it justice. It was really fun. So yeah. But unfortunately, it sounds like they might have had some injuries there. So, like I said, hopefully they're all right. Backstage interview with Jake Roberts and Lance Archer. Marvez tries to get him to talk about what's going on with the future. Archer just says, "Come with me," pulls him into the locker room, just beats the shit out of some enhancement talent, puts one through the ceiling, the same one through into a garbage can. And Jake Roberts just a sweaty mess, watching it, enjoying it. We got Ivelisse versus Diamante. It's pretty even to start the match. A lot of stiff shots. This was a little clunky. Ivelisse sent in the barricade. German release by Diamante. Thunderbomb by Ivelisse for a 2 count. Eventually, Diamante gets the inside cradle for the win. So I don't know. Well, obviously, we find out that Diamante is going to fight Sheeta later. But this was, I had higher hopes for this because of the fact that, I think they're both pretty good and pretty talented. But at the same time, it didn't seem like, them two women that didn't have any other storyline being featured on the show, which was good. Obviously, we want more women on the match, more women matches. I do think that was actually the only women's match, I believe. Yeah, that was the only women's match. So, yeah, it was all right. We get Hangman versus number 5, Alan Angels. Hangman with stiff shots. No one sells a chop sells one chop by 5. Boots 5 in the face. Another big boot sends him to the apron, to the barricade. Dark Order starts to come out, minus Brody Lee. 5 gets some offense in during picture-in-picture. Page with the fall-away slam bridge for a 2 count. Second rope moonsault, but the knees up by Page. Any offense by 5 just gets countered at this point. So discus forearm by Page for a 2 count. Pop-up powerbomb for the win. So he didn't even have to do any of his normal moves. So Page starts challenging the Dark Order to come out. Brody comes out with Colt. Colt's looking like, what am I getting myself into, sort of, but also kind of still following everything. Brody comes into the ring. He's impressed with everything about Hangman Page except the lack of friends in the face of possible danger. Now he says, I'm not going to attack you. I'm just saying in general, there could be danger here and your friends don't come out. Even though they kind of retread what they did on BTE where Page said that he was looking into it, but then he's fine now. But Page just says that he's not ready to join a cult right now. Obviously, Brody takes Colt. So then Brody then goes to the back, takes Colt with him because he doesn't want him to get involved in that, which I like because it's like, he's obviously trying to get him into the Dark Order and embrace it fully, but like the heel tactics, Colt isn't a heel, so you don't want him to you want to ease him into it. So Page attacks the Dark Order to start. Then the Dark Order start with the beatdown. FTR is the one that comes out first with a cooler and just blasts Silvers in the face with it, and it just explodes everywhere. Kenny finally comes out. Cash gives Page a beer, and then Kenny but you could see that Paige is actually happier that FTR is there than Kenny, so we're obviously seeing the seeds being planted. I don't know if this is more of a just a split between Kenny and Paige as opposed to possible, Paige possibly joining FTR for the supposed rumored Horseman reunion or whatever you want to call it. So next week we find out AEW Tag Title match, Hangman and Omega versus Dark Order, which is Uno and Stu as they're one of the top or the top. Shida versus Diamante. They didn't say if it was for the title or not. Tornado Tag, Mox and Allen versus Cage and Starks. Obviously, if Allen is injured, that might change it. But as far as right now, that would be a pretty good match. And then obviously a TNT title match, which we find out independent wrestler Warhorse. I don't know much about Warhorse. All I know is that everyone's been asking for him to be, get more play, get more exposure, be one of the people that Cody faces. So apparently, we've wanted it and we're getting it. So I'm going to look into him a little more and just see what happens. We then get our main event, Hager and Jericho versus Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Obviously, when Inner Circle comes in, they're looking up to see if there's more shenanigans by, any more orange juice to drop. Hager and Luchasaurus both tagged in. Eventually, Hager gets an ankle lock, but Luchasaurus gets to the ropes. Jericho attacks Lucha's ankle. Luchasaurus finally gets the hot tag to Jungle Boy, who cleans house. Rana pinning attempt on Jericho for a 2 count. Suicide dive on Santana and Ortiz. Outside in flatliner by Jungle Boy for a 2 count. Marco gets involved, but gets punched in the face by Jericho. And then we see, I guess, Matt Hardy watching from the stands, it looked like, during picture-in-picture, I think it was. Crossbody from the top by Jungle Boy for a 2 count. Double DDT by Jungle Boy when they try to double suplex him. Luchasaurus comes in, he's cleaning house. Marco drop kicks Lucha. Oh, okay, so Marco hits a drop kick, Lucha hits a super kick for a 2 count. Assisted Rana by Jungle Boy on Santana onto Ortiz, so he jumps over the ropes while Santana's on the apron, Rana's him, and in the flipping motion by Santana, he lands on Ortiz. It was a really cool spot. Then eventually Serpentico hits Luchasaurus with the bat, then Codebreaker for the win. Inner Circle is taking out Jungle Express. Serpentico takes off the mask, and lo and behold, the return of Sammy Guevara. He totally had me because he was even doing Serpentico's mannerisms, and but he hit a a shooting star press, which I thought I've seen Serpentico do before, so that's why I just was like, oh, they're having him join the Inner Circle, which I thought was a little interesting because it just didn't seem like he would fit, especially but then I thought, oh well, he's been kind of moving into working with Luther. Luther is very close with Jericho, so maybe that was some connection there. But no, Sammy is back. Cassidy comes out with the best friends, and Inner Circle leaves. And then Tony Khan informs them it's going to be a 5-on-5 match next week. I do find, Tony Khan has talked about it. He said that Sammy Guevara has completed all the training that, they assigned him. They do think it's time to bring him back. He's been gone for a month. He's not been paid for a month. Obviously, that's not, important. It's understanding that Sammy knows what he did. Whether it worked or not, I don't know, but I do think he's probably done all the right things, and I think to continue punishing him for something back then that he's apologized to the person who is the target of it, and that person's accepted it, I think is good. So there you have it. That is everything from AEW for the week. As always, I give my match of the week. So I'm going to go with the Falls Count Anywhere, Young Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade. This was just awesome match. Seriously, if you haven't seen it, see it. Just the moves and just the story that they were telling in the ring. Butcher and the Blade, yes, they are not the most winningest team, but matches like this just show how strong they are and how really good they are and how they should be in the top of the tag division. So hopefully, if the Young Bucks are injured, this obviously gives Butcher and the Blade some more opportunities. FTR as well. So, yeah. So anyway, as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Stay cool. Be safe. Love each other. And bye now. What are you looking at? You got a problem with my podcast?